Hello everyone and welcome to BMW for Washington. This is a video about how to maximize your efficiency in BMW's i4. Now I currently drive, if you haven't seen my previous videos, an i4 eDrive 35. That's a smaller battery and a little less horsepower, 282 horsepower compared to others. But the main point about this is, well, efficiency wise, how do I do? So I'm not driving particularly effective here. Let me just accelerate a little bit over here. But yes, I get about 3.7 average for that. If I ship this to this particular trip, a little less than that 3.7 average as of right now. But the point is, it's there. So in this particular trip, I am averaging 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour, which is, if you haven't seen before, better than I was getting in basically every other EV that I've driven so far. I'm also not driving super fast. I'm driving 71 miles per hour right now down the highway, and I currently am in adaptive mode. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, but JP, you always advocate heavily for brake mode or one-pedal driving. But here's the thing. In some of my kind of unofficial testing that I've been doing, I seem to get slightly better overall range when I use my adaptive mode on the highway and just efficiently coast. Now, the reason for that is with a lot of highway, if you're in brake mode, you'll slow down a lot if you get off the throttle. Sometimes you don't want to have a lot of throttle precision when driving on the highway, especially if you're doing a very monotonous drive. Then you'll be doing a lot of accelerating, decelerating, accelerate, decelerate, accelerate, decelerate. So if you're trying to do kind of less of that, I find that having the ability to do both helpful. So that's why I have adaptive mode on. Now, keep in mind, if you're not driving the iX or the i7, adaptive is an option only if you get driver's assistance professional package, meaning that you have to have that front radar system to make this adaptive an option. Otherwise, you'll basically have low regen mode, which will still be a regen, and it's not, well, adaptive, frankly. If you didn't know, adaptive mode basically will take your driving, see what's in front of you, and then change your regen based on it from a level of 0 regen, aka free coasting, or maximum regen and everything in between based on what you see in front of you, route specific things like heavy turns, speed limit changes, stuff of that nature. Here's a perfect example. So as of right now, I'm coming around the corner right here. Here's a person in front of me, but if I let off and not tell it to accelerate, it's going to actually regen instead. So now that no one's in front of me and I let my foot off the throttle, it's just going to free coast. See? So that's what I mean by, let me do a little something here. I'm going to accelerate to the point where it's going to have to regen itself. So I'm going to take it to about right here. Car's coming up, it sees that there's a person. As it slows me down, it lowers its regen. So that's basically how that works. Another thing I will do when driving is I will tend to actually sit there and say, well, I don't want to be in a regen right now. There's a lot of traffic ahead, and I'll simply bump over into B mode under that circumstance. Mainly because as I drive, excuse me, almost dropped you. As I'm driving, I prefer to actually be able to sit there and say, aha, this is a better spot for regen. And again, with the toggle of the shifter down here, it's easy to simply tell it A or B. So, or in this case, D or B. So if I'm in my adaptive mode, again, that's more for I know I'm going to be on the highway for a long period of time. If I hit traffic, I tend to switch it over to B mode and maximize my regen in that stop and go circumstance. And so far, it works out pretty well. So see this little guy, here's my adaptive content, and it can actually tell me every time I let off the brake, charging the battery, or if I switch to my adaptive mode and do the same thing. If no one's in front of me, I let off and efficient coasting.